To exit is to change. To change is to mature. To mature is to go on creating oneself endlessly. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I, Aditya Saraswat.
And I, Sonali Verma.
Together, we will be your hosts today. We welcome our honorable guest speaker, director, dean, all treasured faculty, and of course, our wonderful audience.
Today's digital deployments are large and complex with business services built on dynamic environments. And without the right strategy and technology, operational challenges lead to negative business outcomes, thus making it even more critical to understand the digitization and technological developments rising in the business world. To amalgamate the same corporate expectation from the future professionals and current industry trends, we have been organizing the Leadership Talk series.
On behalf of whole JK Business School fraternity, we welcome our guest speaker of the month, Mr. Mritunjoy Singh. But before starting his wide and vivid introduction, I would like to invite the director of JKBS, Dr. Sanjeev Marwa, to share a few lines in his reverence.
I don't know about the introduction, but all I can tell you is that as I have known Quintica as an employer, which had selected some students from GKBS campus last year. The students returned with a raving feedback about the amazing experience they had at the workplace, and in that feedback, they mentioned the quality of experience that they learned at their workplace, the ethical standards that were being followed, the training and the learning experience that they have had over there. So in the review, we found out it was one great company which had invited our students for summer internship. And then, a few weeks later, I think Quintica was looking for some executives, and then they decided to come back to and look at JKBS students which have interned with them. And I think one or two confirmations came in, and much later, I think probably there was another round of interviews and some more confirmations came in. So it's a new relationship started last year. Of course, I know Shivkant has long-standing relationship with the organization in the past as well. But for JKBS, it was one new formal relationship which got started, and I think it's started maturing now in the year two. And the person behind this maturing of relationship is definitely Mr. Mritunjoy, who I have not met, but then I have heard a lot from Shivkant with the interactions that he have had with the organization in general and Mr. Mritunjoy Singh in particular. It's always a privilege to invite and have a existing partner in terms of hiring to the campus. Generally, it's the other way around. We have guest speakers in the campus, and then they decide to become the employer or hire. It's the other way around over here, and I think the credit should go to only Mr. Mritunjoy Singh for this. We are grateful to you for the relationship that began last year. And I'm sure this relationship will go much farther with your personal intervention and interest. And we are also grateful that you've been able to draw time today to speak to the next batch or next cohort, which is eagerly waiting to listen to you. And of course, they look up to you as not only a prospective employer, but as a trainer, because you train people, as a teacher, because the kind of background and your LinkedIn research that has shown them the kind of training exposure you have given to so many professionals in your corporate life. And of course, a prospective employer, which is of course generally taken by any MBA student when he attends a session. So in these three different roles, I would like to welcome Mr. Mritunjoy Singh for this interaction and the guest speak for the month. Thank you, Mritunjoy, for accepting and being here with us today afternoon.
Thank you so much, sir. An entrepreneurial-driven executive, facilitator, and builder of world-class management and technology consulting teams, with a specialty in both startup and scale growth stages. He has experience in working with CXOs for major organizations and digital transformation projects across the USA, UK, APAC, and the Middle East.
Over the course of his corporate career, he has worked with leading multinational organizations on multiple roles for more than 2 decades. He has more than 6 years of experience in Quintica Group, Dubai, on various roles like Senior Solution Architect, General Manager and Practice Head Service Now, General Manager and Service Head Cloud Services, and currently working as an Executive Director Consulting Services. Apart from Quintica, he has more than 14 years of experience on various roles on prominent companies like Accenture Singapore, BHP Singapore, HCL Technologies in Singapore, New York, London, and Sydney. In India, he has worked for Microland Limited, American Express, EXL, and Aditya Birla Finance.
Mr. Singh is a Harvard alumni of Ramjas College, Delhi University, and Institute of Business Management Research, Pune, with a degree of BSc Mathematics and Master's program at Information Technology. He has been awarded with Certificate of Appreciation from American Express for providing the best service, from Microland for implementing learning management system, and from Abu Dhabi National Oil Company and Dubai Airport for supporting digital transformation. He has also industry certification such as TIL Expert, Scrum Master, and Six Sigma Green Belt. So let's welcome the MJ of Quintica, Mr. Mritunjoy Singh, to enlighten us with an experience-rich session on the topic digital transformation in service management. Please, sir.
Sunilji, I think you have to switch on your audio.
Thank you, Shafan. Thank you very much. So I'll go back again. Dr. Marwa, thank you for the wonderful introduction. Dean, professors, my friends here, young minds, great introduction. I think it walked me through the entire path of 20 years and plus. And it has been, I must say, it was overwhelming listening. I mean, you read through it, you think through it, but when somebody talks about it, it is just brilliant. So thank you for making me special feel special today. Just before I move on to start talking about the topic itself, I must say that we had some great minds joining us, primarily for a shorter duration of time, but I know that one person in particular has done a great job, and she's taking Quintica by storm. She's everywhere, and that clearly says the kind of quality that you inculcate in your students. So congratulations for that. And yeah, I think before we coming and talking about any pitching about our own organization, I think it was important for us to show what we are looking for, and JK Business School had contributed by, and hence we hired first before coming and talking about ourselves. We are very focused consulting organization. Mr. Brian McKenzie was also there in one of the leadership talks, and he's our chief mentor, my mentor for sure, over a very long period of time, and I think we wanted to ensure that we first look at getting some people from your school and showing some value internally in the organization, and then come and talk about it. So I know that we have spent over 10 minutes introducing ourselves. I have a presentation deck that I want to walk through the people over here. And I didn't want it to go into detail. I don't want it to become a training session. As consultants, we are get very inclined towards imparting more than what we should. So I don't want to get into that advisor role, but what I wanted to, the objective of this whole thing is service management and digital transformation are two different aspects, and not many people know about it because it's a very B2B, business to business kind of work that we do. But how it is touching the life of each one of us, it becomes very important. And from the young minds, it's very important to understand that particular bit and find out the upcoming future of work, the career that lies over there. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Give me a minute. All right, let me know when you can see my screen. Can I get a confirmation that you can see my screen?
Yeah, it's visible now. Absolutely fine.
Thank you very much. Before I go forward, I think it was important to pay tribute and give a kind of a salute to the people who have been the force behind whatever small that I have achieved and keep me going. Over here, you can see my family. Over here, my daughter, my wife. She's an artist. My daughter is an aspiring technocrat herself. She loves to learn new technologies and is passionate about Qatar. On the left-hand side are my in-laws, and and there's my dad. Both of them have been a very important part of my career and life in pushing me wherever I am. My brother and the little one who's no longer little anymore. These people have always kept me going and has ensured that I keep on achieving great things. Apart from that, some of the hobbies that I'm interested most of the time goes into ensuring that I learn new technologies and try to grow the business. But I take up time to do a bit of gardening. I do love to sing and claim to be an amateur singer as well. In my early college days, I used to be very active in dramatics and street plays. And someday I always dreamed that I will move out of my corporate world and get into filmmaking someday. And we'll wait for that. Right, moving on to the digital transformation. I think we have to acknowledge that the way things were when I came out of college, and I'm sure some of our professors here and Dean and you would have seen that the industry used to look very different than what we see today. Now, if you look at the four areas, the four logos, one thing is common in all of them, that they have changed the face of the respective industry. And what I mean by that is, if you look at Uber or Alibaba or Airbnb or Facebook or YouTube for that matter, they are organizations, they are very large corporates, but they don't own a lot of asset in what they are, from what they are making money. And if you look at Uber, world's largest taxi company, but doesn't own a single taxi. Alibaba, again, one of the largest marketplace, but they don't have any inventory. They don't own any inventory. And Airbnb as well doesn't own any hotels. And Facebook, one of the largest content creator along with YouTube, they don't own any of these contents. All are being created. And what is the reason behind it? The reason is the whole paradigm shift of moving into the digital era, where the entire way of operating, the business model has changed. And I'm going to touch upon what are the two key areas, important areas that has made this happen. Look, we need to understand what is digital transformation, right? And in a nutshell, if you look at digital transformation, it is as simple as automating the processes digitally to ensure that you provide excellent customer service. And that's what digital transformation is. Some of the areas that are very, very important are four of these areas: process transformation, business model transformation, and domain transformation, and cultural organization transformation. The digital transformation era, I think it started way back in, even before that, when we started hitting year 2000. There was a big push where banks started becoming one of the first areas. Telcos and banks were the first areas where industries that adopted this digital transformation. They started ensuring that most of the things are getting digital. So we had the internet banking, we had the internet portal for making telephone payments, and start looking at the usage as well. Now, you can only do digital transformation if you have a very clear understanding on what are the different processes that are running. So you need to ensure that these processes are documented, and then you start looking at inefficiency and start looking at process re-engineering. The other thing that we are talking about is the business model transformation. The way you operate has to change. And one of the major areas is adoption. So to technology, you can bring technologies which will automate a lot of processes. Where you have people sitting and using paper and pen, you start moving online. But then how do we ensure that people are the end user or people who are providing services are adopting those technologies? So the model transformation has to happen. And then the domain transformation, and that is focusing on ensuring the way you're delivering your services. Now you have digital back. Now this is a complete change in the way we are operating, which becomes a business model transformation. But if you look at Amazon, which was primarily a marketplace, now moving into AWS, because they have a big base, they have a lot of data, and they want to utilize that data and start offering new services. That's where the domain transformation is coming into picture. The other areas which is also looking at is the cultural and the organization transformation. Culturally, one of the sorry, I'm just ensuring that I'm still audible.
Yeah, perfectly fine. Please go on.
Okay, great. From a cultural and organization transformation point of view, one of the key areas of pre-pandemic era was this the whole idea of being in office versus now where you can be anywhere, and that is one example of how culturally and organizations are transforming. You have to, it is more output based than time based, and that is one area where digital transformation has helped a lot. Now we have to understand what is service management, and these are two different areas that we can talk about, but they merge together and then start looking at providing excellent customer experience. Now these are few definitions. We all understand what is a service. A service has no is not valuable if it doesn't give any tangible benefit to the people who are using it. And it has to show some value. Output should be a value to my when I'm utilizing the service. And there's a big, a lot of parameters that goes into it. There are a lot of managerial discipline that goes into to ensure that there is a management of service, which also means that if somebody is utilizing a service and somebody is providing a service, in between somebody would like to ensure that these services are getting delivered efficiently, what are the key management principles that we have to take into account? One of the foremost practices that came was the ITIL. ITIL was primarily focusing in the IT industry, but it started transforming itself and started ensuring that it started getting applied in various industry segments. ITIL is Information Technology Infrastructure Library, and the principles basically talks about if you're providing a service, how do you ensure that you set an expectation of what is the time that you need to deliver that service, and whether you're able to meet the expectation of the client, and through various management disciplines. And also, if something is broken, you're using a service and it's not working, what are the various areas that we have to focus on to ensure that our end user or our customer is getting uninterrupted services, or if the service gets interrupted, how fast we can go ahead and resolve it. So that's the idea behind it. You'll be very much surprised that there's less known service management practice. The total market size globally would be around $50 billion by 2027. So there's a big market, which means great opportunity, both from entrepreneurship as well as from a job point of view and career point of view. Some of the challenges that the service industry is experiencing is the quality of service. Because there is no physical product available and that you can't feel in touch.
You are on mute. You are on mute. Hello.
So you're audible.
Who is audible?
You are audible. Mr. Singh is not audible.
But that's what I was just.
Yeah. I'm not sure how
Okay.
far did we go ahead.
But just for a
Did I
moment.
Okay. I don't know how I went on mute. But
Just for a minute before. Just for a minute before.
okay, great. So let me recap on the challenges in service industry, and I'm just confirming again that I'm still audible.
Yes, absolutely fine now.
Thank you. So I was talking more from our challenges in the service industry, and I was also talking because there is no physical product that you touch and feel. It is more perception based. How do we ensure that we provide great quality of service? And that becomes a bigger challenge. This perception keeps on changing. Today, something that is good to have becomes need to have, and the benchmark keeps on moving. Communication with the customer is important, but we lack. How do we? There's nothing called enough communication. We have to keep on communicating with the client to ensure that we keep on managing the perception that we initially talked about, and the efficiency of service, adherence to the speed of delivery, error in the repeatable task, and then the client expectation as we talked about. So key areas that the service industry has been experiencing as digital transformations start coming together, as in the service management, we started filling those gaps and then started ensuring that we start giving better services. So let's look at the transformation in the service management area. Now, predictability is becoming a big thing, and you can see that whether you're using Facebook or you go to Amazon, you search certain things, and based on that, there are certain recommendations that start coming in. Even in the business to business side of it, when we're using a telco service, or whether you're using a banking services, there are a lot of data that gets generated, and based on that data, using machine learning and artificial intelligence, organizations are now predicting what would you need, and how do we ensure what is going to happen. A simple example is in the telco and the IT industry. There are using machine learning. Organizations know when there's certain disruption that's going to happen, and also how do we ensure that that gets fixed automatically, which is called the self-healing. A lot of these calls that you receive, some of them are automated just to keep you informed about something that has happened probably in the account, a service disruption, and I'm just taking two examples in the banking and the telco sector. All automated calls based on certain of these disruptions to keep people informed or aware. And one of the biggest examples that you can see is if you do a large transaction using your credit card, automatically you will receive a call. A message will be received for sure, but a call gets initiated. And you'll be surprised that there's nobody who's sitting and making those calls. These calls are self-initiated, and they connect it to the right analyst to ensure that those analysts can give you feedback about the risk associated with it. The increasing usage of chatbots and virtual agents is again a great thing. I'm sure we all use Zomato at some point of time. Half of these messages that you interact with when you place a certain order and you have an issue are using chatbot or virtual agents. There's a lot of there are a lot of new apps that has come in, and these are more on entertainment side of it, and you will see that you're getting a lot of likes, and people are appreciating you about the work that you're doing. That is all bots who are mimicking your expectation and filling it as well by appreciating you, talking about things that you like. The automated resolution and automated escalation is another area. Something fails, it will try to self-heal automatically. And if it doesn't, then it starts escalating into the right set of people based on what technology or what areas are being impacted. And all that is driven in the digital, using digital transformation. Now, and I wanted to go, I picked up a few topics. One of the biggest areas that we are focusing on is breaking the language barrier. There was always this barrier around the geography that you are in, where you can't communicate to anybody if you don't know the language. Now, with the advent of artificial intelligence, with the Google Translator, and you also see, if you're using Microsoft product, which we all use, there are a lot of places where there are options of automatically translating your translating from different languages. The other areas, which is automatically correcting your sentences, those are small examples. But if you look at the bigger aspect of it, the interactions that you're having when you're chatting with somebody in your own language, like in the UAE, you will have an option to chat in Arabic, but on the back end, you might have somebody else who doesn't know Arabic, but can really, based on the translation, would be able to respond in their own in English, and then it gets translated back in Arabic on a real-time basis. So that has been a great help, because then expertise which are lying in certain geographies are easily getting passed on to other regions where there is a language barrier. Delivering healthcare, and we experienced this during the pandemic era. One of the key areas that has happened is, and I experienced it during the pandemic period, we were not able to go out, and the insurance companies had a tie-up with these hospitals where I could log a video call and can chat to a doctor. The doctor was able to diagnose us the cause, was able to prescribe, and I saw medicine at my doorstep with instructions within an hour on how to go ahead and take care of myself, with follow-up calls, with notifications saying that have you taken your medicine, how do you feel, and if not, we can have another follow-up session. Now, this automation, the digital transformation in the healthcare system, has given the greater reach into the areas where availability of doctors or experts is not there. And this, I think, especially in countries like ours, India, where we have a lack of resources in certain areas, this is a great boon. The robotic arm has become a great piece of innovation as well, which has been there for some time, but it is improving, where error are getting reduced in various of these surgeries, with complex surgeries, and leveraging the expertise from across the globe. So a doctor sitting in America can operate here in India or UAE. So that's a great example of digital transformation again. Transforming government. I think I took an example of UAE because I have seen when I landed in 2015, and prior to that, I was in Singapore. Singapore has always been a place where there's a great adoption of technology, but the rapid pace at which UAE has adopted the technology has been amazing, and how they are transforming the government services. You have around 30% of the police stations have become smart police stations, where you don't interact with anybody. You interact with a robot or a machine, and basic things, clearance certificates, reporting something lost and found, reporting a crime has become on your phone or using the smart police station, and thereby reducing the dependency on human, and thereby also ensuring there is a seamless interaction between the citizen and the government, removing corruption over a period of time as well. UAE is considered as one of the safest places, and from a corruption point of view, there's hardly that you can hear anything with the great intent of the rulers over here. In the other areas, the land department has become completely digital, where you are using blockchain technologies to ensure that you're registering your land, your apartments that you're buying, and literally in few minutes, in an hour, you will have everything sorted with a digital certificate which says that now you're the owner of the house. And similar examples of monitoring the speeds. There's no policeman who is standing and is going to stop you and say, here's the fine. There are robots that monitor you on the road based on your speeding, based on the lane adherence. You get a notification that you have not adhered to these things, and you have with proof. And this is the fine that you have to pay. And now, obviously, if you have to dispute that, you can definitely go ahead and do it online, or visit the office to have a conversation. So that's another example of how the government services are getting transferred using digital transformation. This is extremely interesting, that bit. Transforming the movement. I think the way we are seeing that most of the cars will be automated by 2050, and you will not see taxis coming and somebody driving the taxi. The taxi will come, you will sit, and you will reach the destination without any human interaction and seamless services. On the left-hand side, why I picked up this concept car from Lamborghini is because it is world's first self-healing car. So what we are saying is that if there's any issue in the car, it will identify the resolution, the fixes. It will fix it. If it can't fix it, then immediately inform the nearest service station and also guide you to over there. Or if the car is immobile, then somebody will reach out to you at the location where you are, and you will get the car fixed. So, again, a great example of how transformation is happening. I'm sure you might have seen the video from BMW, where the connected services is when you're driving the car, the camera is identifying various locations, restaurants, services, and will give you feedback on what are the services that these places give, and you can talk to the car and you can make bookings using Google Assist and various other technology. So that's the future that we are stepping into, and all because of the transformation, the digital transformation that has taken a great pace. Before I go into anything else, I just wanted to ensure that, so what does it mean to you? Why you should be listening to all these things? And at times, some of you who are not very much into the technology side of it might feel that, it sounds very interesting, but nothing to do with it. The reality is, it is going to be very, very important in our life. Whether you are technology savvy or not, whether you come from the technical background, some of the things that we have to take care is you have to learn new technology. And I'm not saying go and learn programming. Learn how to use the technology. There are great technologies that are coming on, and there's a big evolution happening on a day-to-day basis. How do you use that technology to solve problems? And that problem could be in the personal life, at the professional, at the workplace. You have to learn new technologies and adoption of it. And as things are getting automated, as bots are coming into our lives, the key thing is the soft skill. Soft skill is going to differentiate you. One of the things that will become highly recognized and important is emotional quotient and emotional intelligence. How well do you, and that is something that machine has not been able to achieve, and it will take a very long time before they become as intelligent, emotionally intelligent as humans are. And that is the biggest differentiator. How do we ensure that we show empathy? How do we understand people's behavior much better and work with them collaboratively? And make your career choices based on the future of work. Don't look at the immediate thing. Some of the people who have achieved great heights are people who look at the future, not 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. They look at 10 years. How will be the world in the next 10 years? What are the industry pundits saying? What are the different things that are happening? And then remain a problem solver. The people who are problem solvers are in big demand. Nobody is looking for somebody who needs instructions to go ahead and fulfill a task. That's for that. Robots are coming, and they are available. You need people who can understand the problem, come up with various ideas, work collaboratively, come up with a solution, and work towards solving those problems. I think the statement was very important. And I truly believe in it. Let's accept it that the greater automation and digitalization will result in the loss of certain type of jobs, and those are manual transformation, high risk jobs. But that doesn't mean that those people will be left in cold. New job types are coming up and emerging. And what you have to do is you have to look at new job types. The objective is the standard of living is improving. The way we used to live 20 years back versus how we live today, and the kind of expectations that we have when we go out, whether to get a service or to buy anything, is different. And hence the type of jobs are changing. You have to get prepared for it, and there'll be enough job. I remember when ATM got, and that will say how old I am, but when ATM got introduced, there was a lot of fear in the banking sector that people will be losing job, but that didn't happen. ATM did not replace people. The new kind of jobs that came, the customer experience center, the customer relationship management. I don't remember that was something that used to be there if I'm looking at 25 years back. But that's a very important bit. You have a customer relationship, a relationship manager from your bank who works with you very closely on understanding your needs and understanding the challenges that you have and how they can help you. So that's the kind of transformation that we're looking at, new jobs getting created and new types of jobs getting created. Last but not the least, I'm not going to emulate what Steve Jobs said. I just believe in this whole concept that you have to keep on learning. You cannot stop learning. There's no way. And you have to, and learning doesn't mean going to the college or taking a book. Learning is observing, listening to people, working with people, and understanding how we challenge the status quo. That's learning. And keep pushing boundaries. Don't be comfortable in where you're sitting. If you're comfortable where you're sitting, then you're basically not planning to push yourself forward and move into the new era. Keep learning, keep pushing boundaries. Thank you very much. Happy to take questions if you have.
What a brief and insightful session, sir. And I'm sure it must have cleared many doubts, and also it may trigger many questions too. So let's move forward to some inquisitive brains who must be having some questions on this session. Now I request the students to turn on their camera and ask questions. We will be moving on to the students who are present in the classroom now.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is actually based on the challenges part that you said. That, sir, all the challenges felt very, very important to attend to. But, sir, not all organizations can fight challenges at the same time. So, sir, if any organization wants to or have to prioritize them, how can they go according to?
Excellent. Very good question. Prioritization is driven by two areas, and one is how do you retain your customer, and that leads to your customer experience. So because of the competition, there is a lot of focus on ensuring that the customers are getting better experiences. So that's priority number one. And the next thing is from a corporate point of view, profitability. How do you bring efficiency in the organization that will lead to better profitability? And profitability is, in a capitalist kind of a business, is not only about the money, it's also about the brand value. How do we ensure that it's a long-term benefit for the organization as well. So primarily two areas: how do you keep your customer happy? In fact, three areas. The baseline for any business and addressing any challenges are: how do you make your customer happy? Do you keep your employee happy? And how do you keep your shareholder and stakeholders happy? These are the three major areas. And based on that, you should be that if you are able to question and address these three areas, you'll get your answer on what should I be addressing first.
Got it, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. It was a very nice question.
Hi, hello, sir.
Good afternoon.
My question is, sir, as in what stage you find most difficult in the digital transformation journey?
Yeah, great question again. So there are two areas. Change is the most difficult thing in anybody's life. What happens is, even if you ask yourself and say, I'm going to make these changes to myself in the day-to-day, is the most. Getting up and going to the gym is the first example. You go for 7 days, you wear a t-shirt called I'm active and activated, and guess what? In the 8th, 9th day, it's gone. So the easiest part is to put a plan in place. You do certain things, but the most difficult part is changing. Adoption and change in the organization are the two major issues. Most of the projects and most of the transformation fail because there is not efficient change management, which includes making sure people understand the value of the transformation and they adopt that transformation.
So, sir, does the transformation of security also conclude in this?
Yes, absolutely. See, absolutely. Security goes hand in hand. Any transformation that you are doing, the underlying thing is one of the key areas. The final go-ahead for any transformation is with the security team, because it has to ensure that your existing user base is not getting impacted. You're not opening any new vulnerabilities that will lead to failure of business in the future. So security for sure. Physical security is one area, but cyber security and information security has become extremely important as we digital. Every bit of information is available, and how do you protect that information? So another career, if somebody wants to get into cyber security and security area, is a very thriving career. Again, as I said, you don't have to be technology coming from the technology background. There are a lot of management principles that need to be adhered. And just to give you, touching upon one thing, there's something called the Data Protection Act. A lot of these countries are coming up with to ensure how do we protect the data of people. And those are principles. How do you take those principles and go into every transformation project and apply it? So that's another area that you should focus on.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your question.
Moving on to students who are having questions online.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
Maika Bajpayee. My question to you is,
Sorry, I'm not audible. I'm not sure if it's for me. I couldn't hear that question. I'm not sure it was only for me.
Inside the business, handle the digital transformation best, and which department has the big?
Maika, you need to repeat your question, please. You are not audible at all.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. My question to you is, which department inside a business
Handle the digital transformation best, and which department has the biggest challenge?
Sure. Good question. I think you guys did a very thorough research on, on digital transformation. I'm very happy. I'm very glad that.
And I'm sorry, like they must not be like jumping inside your database and asking the deep dive questions, huh?
No, no, I'm very excited. I'm very excited because these questions are very, very interesting. These questions need to be asked. So which department, if I could understand it correctly, which department is responsible for the digital transformation, and which department basically experienced the biggest challenge? Is that the right understanding, Mahika?
Yes.
Okay, good. So see, you will be again. This is the future of work. This is the future of
Sir.
work. There was nothing called the digital transformation organization, the department. Today, you will see new roles: chief digital officer. Okay? You will see digital transformation organization or transformation department. So, if you look at the history, there was this vigilance department and there was this quality department. These were the two areas. Vigilance was ensuring compliance, and quality was ensuring that you're adhering to the compliance on a regular basis and their standard of quality, standard of services or product that you're delivering. Now, over a period of time, compliance has got into compliance, governance, risk, and security. Whereas the quality department, you will not see a lot of quality department as such. They have become a digital transformation department. So the quality department of the yesterday years is today the digital transformation. The challenge is that the department that experiences most of the challenges are to, again, because of this, the people who are driving this. So program management is, or project management is one area which falls again under digital transformation segment. They are the people who experience most of this challenge because they are given a project, it has a certain budget, and it has certain outcome that is expected. So they experience hell. And the second area is the business which is going to adopt to those transformation. So for an example, if you're trying to transform your HR department or you're transforming your procurement department or marketing department as such, the transformation objectives set by the leaders for them has to be adopted and then ensure that they bring the output. So the business which is adopting to this transformation is another one who experienced the most challenges. I hope that answers your question, Maika.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I have a question.
Yeah, Ayushi, tell me.
Yeah, so can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So as you said, soft skills and high emotional intelligence is what robots lack. And in current scenario where most of us are working from home, how to know and ensure if teams are collaborating enough across function? Because the principles and behavior that guide the process are equally important.
Great question, Ayushi. So this pandemic era taught us a lot, and yeah, it was overwhelming for all of us. Especially sitting in one corner with the amount of high pressure of work. So I'll just give you an example because there's no straightforward answer. One of the things I strongly believe is there's nothing called enough communication. Communication is communication. You have to keep on communicating. So one of the things that Quintica did as an organization, and we strongly believe in the fact that our employees are the biggest asset, and we call ourselves as Quintica family. And because they are the one who ensure they keep our customer happy and they keep our stakeholder happy. So one of the things that happened was before pandemic, we used to meet, we used to get together, share challenges, but this started becoming difficult for us because we were online and we had back-to-back meetings, and we are not. So one of the things that we did was we started a daily catch-up for over a year. Every day we used to have a half an hour catch-up, and that you can imagine we're not a big organization. We are a very high value organization with a very limited number of people. We are hardcore consulting organization. We don't believe in huge assets and 60, 70,000 employees. We have over 200 plus employees across Middle East, Africa, UK, and Australia. And these people used to join. And not every time they were available, all 200 people were available, but at least we used to get 50, 60 people. And then we used to have various topics for discussion. Come up and tell me your challenges. Come up with ideas. How do we? So that was one way. Again, communication. The second thing that we did was we started a session, and that was every team consulting lead used to get their team together, and we used to call ABW, and it's basically anything but work. So we used to have this 15 minutes, half an hour session online. We used to have our coffees together, and we used to talk about anybody who talks about work is not allowed. That means, you have to restart the session again. So that was another great thing, because we started sharing ideas, challenges that we experienced. And you'll be surprised that the biggest innovation, the ideas that we came across was during this time, because now people were focused on each other to ensure that support them each other. So two areas, I think, ensuring that you are in touch with the people that you're working with an open mind, and ensure that their success is your success, and communicate.
Thank you, sir, for answering.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Any other question, guys?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sonal.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So my question is that is the digital transformation strategy aligned to every business priorities? Is it aligned to every business or any specific service, or it is adopted to all the services?
Every service. Digital transformation is for everything. There's no specific industry. They might have certain principles. There's certain way of working. But the baseline is very simple. Those four main areas that we talked about, the process, the business, the model, the culture, the domain, all these four areas get covered, whether you go into the aviation sector, whether you get into the oil and gas sector, whether you go into the commercial sector, any of these areas, the digital transformation is applicable. The organization look for certain domain knowledge. When I say domain, if you're getting into oil and gas segment, you should have some understanding, because when you start talking, people start using jargons, and it becomes difficult for you to catch up in what exactly it means. When you in the oil and gas segment, somebody is talking about operational technologies, they are talking about drilling, they are talking about geolocation, they are talking about refining. What does it mean? So I think those domain knowledge are important, but digital transformation principles are the same for across the industry. There's no certain differentiation.
And how basically the strategy, what is the basis of setting the strategy of transformation digitally?
So the basis of setting the strategy is based on the outcome that we want to drive. And so some organizations are trying to evolve, and they want to create a different business model or create a different service offering, versus some organizations just want to initiate optimization and bring efficiency in their business. There are certain people who are rolling out. One of the great example, a lot of banks in UAE are now getting into the digital business, right? So which means that you don't have branches. Everything is digital online. All right, so now this is a different service offering. So you'll have a different strategy around it, how to come up with a new service, how do you measure those services, what will be your marketplace, who are you targeting, and then what are the different things that you need, practices, technologies that you need to ensure that this offering is available to everybody. So it all depends on what is the objective that has been set by the organization stakeholders, And based on that, your strategy will change.
Thank you so much, sir, for addressing each and every question in a very descriptive manner. Now, keeping the time constraint in mind, we have to move forward toward the session. On behalf of whole JK Business School fraternity, we are much obliged to thank our guest speaker, Mr. Mritunjoy Singh, for giving us his precious time and to enlighten us with his insightful information on digital transformation in service management. We would also like to thank the students for making this session as interactive as possible. I'm sure everyone had a great learning experience and would be leaving this session with many deeper points and understanding about the topics we discussed, like 4 main areas of digital transformation, which are process transformation, business model transformation, domain transformation, cultural or organizational transformation, the challenges in service industry, various real-life examples of digital transformation, and we also get career advice from one of the best industry experts. We are very grateful for the effort you took to share your thoughts with us and experience with us. Thank you so much.
Now, I would like to invite Ms. Sanjukta from PGDM first year to present a token of thanks to you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Sanjukta.
So it's just a luck factor that you are addressing us miles away from Dubai, and presenting online would be the best choice for me. And here it is a small token of love on behalf of entire JK Business School. Hope you might like my efforts.
Absolutely, it's beautiful. We invited an artist. And that brings me very close to art. That's my alternate ego. I don't know how to draw a straight line, but I love to appreciate art, and this is beautiful. This is Sanjukta. This is a great piece, and it's very personal, and it makes me very emotional. Yeah, thank you very much for taking the effort. It means a lot to me. Thank you to JK Business School, Mr. Sharma. Thank you very much for inviting me. This has been one of my best sessions. I must say, without taking away anything from the others, but this has been great. So, Sanjukta, thank you for taking that. This is beautiful. It means a lot.
Thank you, sir.
I would now request Dean Academics, Dr. Richa Dahya, to share some few words in honor of Mr. Singh.
Well, first and foremost, I'm highly indebted to Mr. Mritunjoy Singh for giving his time to our students. The topic of the talk, digital transformation, is very imperative in today's context. And I believe after listening to your talk, the horizons of knowledge of our students have enlarged. And we believe that learning is a never-ending process. And when the motivator is like you, then the learning becomes permanent. And that's why JK Business School has started with a series of leadership lectures that generally take place on the day of Saturday. And I think through this, we provide an edge to our students so that they can think differently and they can get an exposure of the industry. They can learn through the talks, they can learn through the experiences of these veteran speakers. And we are again very much thankful to you for taking this leadership lecture series ahead with your talk today. And of course, I saw that you are quite interested in the dramatics also, and it would be our privilege to invite you someday for the cultural event that take place in the JK Business School anytime in future when the time would permit us to invite you in the campus. I would definitely like to invite you for the cultural fest or the cultural activities. And I wish the relationship that JKBS has with the Quintica, it goes way ahead and way beyond. With this note, I again thank you on behalf of students and the faculties of JK Business School.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dahya, for your kind words. And I must say to all the students, very, very impressed with the way you have arranged this session. I was told that this entire series is being managed and created by you guys. So well done. A round of applause to each one of you. Great questions. I learned a lot from you guys. I am always very excited to talk to young minds because it just challenge my own thoughts. And when I start feeling that I know it all, which rarely happens, but if that happens, then I go and talk to my daughter or talk to some young minds, and then they give me a new perspective. So thank you very much for again inviting. This has been absolute pleasure. And Dr. Dahiya, I wouldn't miss that opportunity when the time comes to be part of your culture, to be part of this cultural activities that you're going to do. When time permits, I'll definitely be there. Again, thank you very much on behalf of Quintica as well, and on behalf of me and my family for inviting me. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to invite Mr. Shivkant Sharma, placement head, to share some of his golden memories he shared with Mr. Singh in his hostel days.
So Shivkant, you broke the cardinal rule of not disclosing.
See, these guys are not leaving me also behind. Apart from 24 years a journey, starting from Ramjas KMC hostel life, India, moving to Singapore, then Middle East. It's a long tenure, 24 years. Yes. Journey from Mritunjoy, so-called Kern, to MJ, not only of Quintica, but yes, today I'm seriously surprised from where did they get this MJ of Quintica to MJ of JK Business School. So they must have interacted with their senior. I hope she is there. Are you there, Major? I always call her Major.
Morning, sir. Hi.
Hi.
Morning,
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Sorry.
You are still morning. You are there at UAE's time. Huh? So now you are partially the citizen of Dubai and the family of Quintica.
No, definitely. Quintica has been very welcoming. And even though it is only in online, and the kind of welcome that I've had, the way the open-handedly that people have accepted me and my never-ending questions, considering I do not come from an IT background, and this past 1 year, I think I've had the majority number of questions whenever I'm in any meeting to all my colleagues. It has been a great journey. When I look back, it's almost been an year that I've been associated with Quintica, starting from an intern and then turning into an employee. It's been quite the journey, and I've had I think I've been very lucky that I've had really great mentors like MJ, Ellis, Brian, and so many more who've really helped me throughout this 1 year. And I think it's great to be part of Quintica. And I truly believe now that what we stand for is great people doing, making great things and doing big things. Yeah. And it's really lovely to have you here, MJ. I mean, I'm attending one of these sessions after a really long time, and I can see myself that I used to be one of those students standing there and hosting the event, and now I'm sitting on the other side of it. It's quite the change.
And within such a short span.
Absolutely. Thank you. Parveen has been great. We've been pushing her a lot. As we say, we always keep on pushing boundaries. So yeah, I think that's the spirit of Quintica. We do something that people never imagined that we would. So we take up some unbelievable projects and deliver it when people start thinking that whether it can be done or not. So yeah, no, thank you very much.
Right.
Coming back to those college days memories, so everything cannot be shared. Most of the things are secret. Hostel life, especially things to be enjoyed after 7 or 8 p.m. So best of the memories we carry. Yes, bus traveling all different places, Majnu Ka Tila, going for the momos, Amba Batra cinemas, wonderful dishes of Kamla Nagar, Bangalow Road memories. Yes, lot many. Matlab, I can write a book upon the golden memories we share. But yes, precisely, I would like to quote that this COVID was the phase which strengthened our relationship. He was there in Dubai. Earlier he was in Singapore. This COVID crisis, saturated within home, placement was becoming a challenge. And out of that curiosity, lot of anxiousness, anxiety, I called him up. I still remember रात के 12 साढ़े 12 बज रहे थे. And then we started having a long conversation and it continued till 3 a.m. And that was a U-turn kind of. And yes, the destiny of the JKBNs associated with Quintica. It started with some live projects, internships, and then landing up with final placements. Thanksville is a very small word, kind of a gesture on behalf of the institute. Let's meet whenever you are here in India, or like we can invite you specifically from Dubai to the campus. Plan out sometime with family. I would suggest, I always call Chutki to Adya, Rachna, all three of you physically invited here in the campus. Plan out sometime specifically. Okay. And the anchors are continuously smiling, tired of standing on the podium. I can understand since yesterday morning they are like working very hard on the script. Good job, guys.
No, well done.
And
very well done.
Thanks, Mritunjoy. Thanks, Mritunjoy. Let's meet whenever you are here.
Any day.
Okay.
Absolutely, it will be an absolute pleasure. Shukran has been a great friend.
And thanks a lot for your 24/7 kind of support towards the students. Thanks a lot.
No, any day. I'm very happy.
Always supportive that way, 24/7.
Yes, that's what.
So thank you, Praveen. And thank you, Sukant. Great memories together. And I'm very happy that we were able to do whatever small things as Quinticans were able to do together with JK Business School. It's a great growth opportunity that we see as an organization. And obviously, we are looking at great minds. You wouldn't be surprised that Praveen, currently being in a certain role, changes into becoming a strategy consultant very soon. That can happen in Quintica. So if you're exploring a career, will definitely, the upcoming internship is going to start very soon. We are just waiting for final few things from our end, and you'll shortly hear from us. And thank you again for inviting me. I'm not going to hold you any longer. I know I've been on the other side and standing there for long, and people doesn't stop talking about themselves or about each other. I'll let you go, guys, and thank you again for asking me to be here. It has been absolute pleasure, and I love talking to all of you. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, sir. We hope to see you on our campus whenever you are visiting India. Also, we would like to thank our CRC department for organizing such a prolific session for us. Thank you so much. Have a nice day ahead.